Good day, everyone. Welcome to the Teaching and Assessment of Literature Studies. So, I am Miss Regina Fernando. I am a licensed professional teacher and a registered psychometrician, and I will be your teacher for the whole semesters in this subject. So, for today's orientation, I will just give you the overview of the lesson or the subject or the subtopics that are included in the syllabus. So, the teaching assessment of literature studies is a pre-service English language educators in their specialization subject of the same name. So, the subject is intended to assist the would-be English teachers in your journey towards the achievement of outcomes related to the actual teaching and assessment of literature studies in the target language. So just like what I've mentioned earlier, the PSTS or the pre-service teachers will explore on the nature of the literature and the theoretical basis, principles, and methods, strategies in teaching and assessing of literature in different genres, poetry, prose, and drama. So, in this subject, the PSTS will prepare developmentally sequenced lesson plan with a range of assessment strategies in the teaching of literature. So once the lesson plans are approved by your teacher, so the PSTS take the challenge of doing a teaching demonstration in order to communicate the needs, the progress, and achievement of their learners in the literature competencies. So the pre-service English language educators that we are pertaining here is you. So just like what I've said earlier, you will prepare a sequence of lesson plan, and after the approved lesson plan, you will be conducting a teaching demonstration with regards on how to teach and how to assess the literature studies. So let us now proceed to the overview of the lesson or the overview of the subject. So this subject contains of 4 chapters, and each chapters have a 3 or 4 lessons based on the following competencies. So just like here, we have chapter 1, the nature of literature and its genre. So the competency 1 is recognizing the teaching of literature as a significant human experience. And the competency 2, reviewing the genres and branches of literature. The competency 3, discussing the survey of the renowned authors. On chapter 2, we have the teaching and assessing literature models, approaches, and strategies. For the competency 1, understanding the models of teaching literature. Competency 2, determining the approaches to teaching literature. Competency 3, understanding levels of comprehension questions. And competency 4, employing assessment strategies in teaching literature. So after chapter 2, we will be having our midterm examination. So that will be the coverage of your midterm examination, the chapter 1 and chapter 2. Next, we will have our chapter 3, the teaching and assessing poetry. So in competency 1, we have comprehending poetry. Competency 2, selecting strategies in teaching and assessing poetry. Competency 3, designing a learning plan in teaching poetry. And competency 4, teaching poetry interactively. And last, the chapter 4, we have the teaching and assessing prose and dramatic prose. In competency 1, we have comprehending and appreciating prose, recalling and understanding prose and dramatic prose. The competency 3, identifying materials and resources and applying strategies in teaching prose. And last competency is recognizing assessment in teaching prose. So after the chapter 3 and chapter 4, you will be having your finals week. So you will have your final examination. So in order to attain these outcomes and competencies, each lesson is curated with learning activities, so teaching resources and assessment tasks arranged through the following steps. So number 1 is we have the takeoff. So in take off, this is the introduction to the lesson. So reviewing prior knowledge and prerequisites or a motivating activity related to the competencies. Next is take up. In take up, this is the actual discussion of the competencies. So sharing of resources for learning the knowledge and skill of the lesson or the main task related to the lesson. Next is take action. So in take action, this is the application of the competencies through relevant tasks, assessment activities to check progress or achievement of the competencies or challenge tasks related to the outcomes and competencies. Next is takeaway. So this is the pre-service teacher's reflection, integration of lesson with other disciplines and fields, or a self-learning activity or task. So I'm hoping at the end of the learning of this subject, you become confident English literature teachers for our language learners. So I wish you good luck and all for quality and inclusive education through communicative competence and multiliteracies education in English language studies. Let us now proceed to the number one question. So what is the mode of learning? So as always, we will use the online platforms. So the quiz, the attendance, performance, the midterm, and final examinations will be evaluated and monitored through using online platforms. So, we will use Google Forms in answering your quiz. And then in a formal communication, we will be using the official group chat in Messenger. And the recorded discussion will be forwarded to using the link of our YouTube video. So make sure you have installed your YouTube application, the Google form, and the Messenger. The next question is, what will you do as a student? Number one is you will religiously attend the online class in order to pass the subject. So whenever I send you the link of the recorded discussion, make sure to watch it and study it. So the schedule of an online class will consume of 1 hour and 30 minutes discussion and 30 minutes quiz. So usually this is not the actual or the reality. So in my previous experience, I send the link before the quiz. So for example, the recorded discussion consumed the 30 minutes of our um of our class. So I will schedule the quiz the next day or the succeeding days. Next is study and pass the exams and quizzes. And if you have sickness or illness that prohibits you to use the online platform, you have to coordinate with your teacher. So wherever or whatever you have conditions, please communicate it to me um so we can have an agreement or other options on how you will be able to cope up with our subject. Next is the grading system. So 50% for midterm that comprises 25% for quizzes and 25% for midterm examination. And for finals, it is also a weighted 50% of your grade, 20% for quizzes, and 25% for your final examination. Next is my rules. So number one is you have to follow my instructions intently, just like what I've said in this video. I want you to finish the orientation so you are well informed to my instructions and to my rules. Next is attend the class regularly. After the discussion, there is always a quiz. So you have to expect that whenever I send you a link of our recorded discussion in succeeding days, we will be having our quiz. So the midterm and final examination will be consisting of 100 items multiple choice. Next is I am very strict with the schedules and deadlines. So for example, in every recorded discussion, I give you the performance activity and I give deadlines. So you have to meet the deadline or you have to submit your performance activity on or before the said deadline. Next, this is very important rule. All communications will be communicated only using our official messenger group chat. No personal message. Please don't message me in private. Whatever your constraints, your problems, your suggestions, please chat it in our official group chat. So, because I cannot accommodate you all if you send me a personal message. So, I hope you understand. Again, no personal message. If you have questions, just message it in our official group chat. Next is what happened if you didn't get the quiz, midterm, or final examination on the set schedule. When you miss a quiz, you have to wait for the announcement of your teacher if he or she will give you a chance to take the quiz. So sometimes I do not give a second chance when it comes to quiz. But when in midterm and final examination, you have to wait for the announcement of the special exam. So of course, I give you a second chance. I give special exam schedule, and after that, it's done. Okay? So that's all for the today's orientation. So if you have any questions, you have any concerns or problems, just chat it in our official group chat. So since this is a summer class, we will fast track the subject. So instead of having a two recorded discussion, I will be sending you, I think, three or more recorded discussion in a week. So we will be having 4 quizzes in a week. So I want you to prepare yourselves because this is a summer class, and on the next month is the um opening of the school year. So we have to finish this subject throughout the month. Okay, so thank you very much for listening, and welcome to our subject, the teaching and assessment of literature studies.